众朋友们，大家好，欢迎收看本期的《对话好莱坞》，我是主持人蓝天。不同于国产恐怖片在内地销情惨淡，好莱坞却十分的热爱拍摄恐怖惊悚影片了。正如片名《寂静之地》的内核呢，也是一个关于安静的地方。全片的台词非常的少，故事设定也比较另类。故事背景设定于近未来呢，遭到外星怪兽侵入的地球。这个时候国家军队也被击退了，几乎无人生还。而外星生物呢，又没有视力，却有着异常灵敏的这个听觉那只要有人发出稍微大点的声音呢，就会立马被杀掉 KO。幸存的人呢，一定要尽量的保持安静的状态呢，才能活下去。那其实这样的设定下呢，让所有的声音都成为了令人紧张不已的这个催命符例如打翻这个玻璃制品或者是电动玩具的声响呢，走路的脚步声都会被不经意的成为致命的原因了。那今天呢，我们也非常荣幸的请到了影片的几位主创来跟我们分享一下这部影片背后的故事，一起来看一看。So thank you so much, Scott and Brian, for joining me today. So this is such an interesting idea, and how did this concept come about?
The idea for A Quiet Place, we were in college, the very nascent idea came to us when we decided we would love to do a silent film, but in a modern context. When we think about silent films, we always think about Charlie Chaplin's City Lights and Buster Keaton movies or Jacques Tati, and we thought, man, it'd be really special to do something in the horror space, but just totally quiet and no dialogue. But we just didn't know how to make that work.
A Quiet Place always had to focus on a single family, in part because the movie is a metaphor for communication. I mean, in a very literal way in terms of silence is survival, but the fact of the matter is this family also has their own interpersonal problems, and that's beneath the surface of the movie. We always felt that focusing on a family that has a rift is going to be the best window into a genre movie.
So what do you hope the audience would take away from this movie?
I hope that when an audience goes to see Quiet Place, they love living in the silence, because the silence is so much more suspenseful than jump scares that you usually see in horror films. I know that we go to movie theaters to see horror movies because it elicits a reaction from the audience. And so to sit in that silence and just wait and wait and wait, I think will be an incredible experience.
And we also hope that they just really connect with the characters and come away feeling moved.
So you play Regan in the movie. So what intrigued you the most about this film when you first heard about it? So how was working with John? What is he like on set and off set? What's the difference?
Around the world.
Total devastation.
So what do you think is the dynamic of this cast? And do you actually feel like you're a family? And what is the biggest threat that you guys had to face as a family? Hi, Emily. It's so nice to see you again. So what was your first initial reaction once you heard about the script?
To me, the creatures were always so secondary to what I fell in love with the screenplay. That for me, in many ways, as a mother of two girls, it sort of represented my deepest fear of not being able to protect your children, and what must that feel like. And it scared me to take on this role.
Who are we if we can't protect them? We have to protect them.
So how did you and John approach your characters, and what is the biggest struggle that you guys had to face while trying to be your characters?
We did approach it with great vulnerability, I think. You know, we'd just become parents of our second kid, and John was writing the screenplay when our little one was 4 months old. And that idea of how far you would go to protect your children was something that resonated really powerfully with us both. And also the idea of the father representing the person who just wanted to make sure this family survived, and the mother wanted to make sure that the family thrived also. So you get both halves, the feminine half and the masculine half, and how people deal with grief very differently, and how people deal with trauma and a heightened, dangerous environment very differently. So the dynamics between all the characters and the parents and their children was something that required great detail, actually, and intrigue, because there are no words. And so we just had to create a relationship with the children that felt very, very real.
So how was it like collaborating with your husband in this film? Do you think it added value or it didn't add value to the film since you guys are husband and wives?
We were thinking of doing a play together because that was almost less exposure in some ways, and but we just hadn't found the right thing, and I think I felt more protected on this because he was at the helm of it, so he could control like what really is getting out there. And actually, I think because we are married, I think it was so beneficial to this movie and to this dynamic and this experience. And I felt so valued by him, and creatively. I've always felt valued as his wife and mother of his kids, but just so valued creatively. We were so, just so on the same page. What I love most about this movie is that it doesn't show all its cards. It leaves so much to interpretation. It's so smart and really ambitious. It's really ambitious. It's not derivative of anything else I've seen out there.
So John, why did you choose to direct after writing this film and also be the lead actor in this film?
All directors, and there's a huge, I'm very aware of the huge wide open pool of very talented directors, so I would much rather see movies directed by them for the most part. So if it's me who steps up to direct, it's got to be because I have a personal experience. And for sure, to me, it was the metaphor of family. There was this allegory of what it really meant to be a parent. And to me, my favorite movies, horror or otherwise, really have a strong metaphor. My job is to tell the story about this family. And if you care about this family, then you'll laugh with them, cry with them, and be scared with them. And I remember it was actually something I learned on The Office. Greg Daniels, who created The Office, I remember he said to me one day, he said, your job is not to deliver these lines funny. Your job is just to deliver the lines. And whether people find it funny is up to them. And if people find it sad when you say nice things or cry when you say nice things to Pam, that's up to them too. And I've always taken, it sounds like such a simple thing, but I've really taken that for the rest of my career. So I thought, I'll just apply it to this. I'm not making a scary movie. I'm just gonna make a movie about a family. And if their circumstances scare you, then I've done my job right.
So what was the whole writing process like for you?
It was so much fun to write this movie. I think to me, the idea was so good that then it was just about how far can we take it, how deep can we go, and so the idea of how this family communicates goes from sign language to communicating with different colored lights, and then laying out sand paths so that they can walk more quietly and not step on sticks that would make noise, things like that. It was so much fun to just sort of go for it all the way and see how far we could take it.
So your first option as a leading actress to play your wife in the movie wasn't actually Emily Blunt. So how did Emily get involved after all?
As I was pitching her ideas that I was writing in the script, she never read the script. She was just hearing these ideas, and then she started listing actresses that she thought would be really good for the part. And I actually even started reaching out to those actresses. And then one day we were on a plane together, and she said, "Do you mind if I read the script? Are you at that place where I can read it?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And she read it, and I'll never forget, she turned to me and she looked sick. And so, like, before I could reach for a barf bag, she just said, "You can't let anyone else do this movie." And I truly didn't know what she meant. It was kind of like this weird, surreal moment. And she said, I have to play this part. And I said, "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" I thought it's like she was proposing to me or something. And I said, "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" And she said, "Yeah, will you let me be in this movie?" And I was like, I guess, yes, I guess we can let you in. No, and I've said it before, but the truth is it was the greatest compliment of my career, because I have been witness to exactly what it takes to get my wife to commit to a movie, and how insanely classy she is, how insanely smart she is, how insanely dedicated she is to all these movies that she chooses.
好的，那么以上呢就是今天对话好莱坞的全部内容了，感谢大家的收看，我们下一期同一时间再见了，拜拜。
Fighting a massive invasion. Around the world. Total devastation.